Hello everyone, I'm going to try and show you guys some basic Photoshop today. Just gonna mess around in doing signatures or wallpapers or something. So let's get started. First we're gonna go to Planet Renders and go to render. I'm gonna go for Ragnarok Online and grab the gunslinger. Download PNG. Alright, so open up Photoshop, open up the render. There's a few things that you can do. I'll try and explain this as much as I can. This panel here, the marquee, move, all that sort of stuff. Marquee, if you don't already know, you can choose rectangular, single row. I use single row and single column tools if I'm doing tech borders for signatures and stuff like that. Otherwise, square is good for cutting out renders and doing lots of other sort of stuff. Moving something you wanted to, then you could have just a section of something that you wanted. Way of doing that, if you don't know, is grab a marquee tool. You can do it better than this. This is just an example. Select the area you want. You press Ctrl J, which duplicates whatever was in that marquee into a new layer. So now I can run around with this and transform it, flip it horizontally, and yeah, you get the point. Anyway, another option is the polygonal tool, which you can go really close in, get rid of parts that you don't want or do want, delete it or whatever. In the same thing, you've got the lasso, which is more freehand. You've got the magnetic, which does stick to the image, but sometimes it doesn't work very well. Can get kind of annoying, but it does work quite well as well. Let's see, move tool, obviously, move it around. You got the magic wand tool, then you got the tolerance up here. If you set that to like 100, depends on what you have in the background. If you're cutting it out of something, if it's just a basic black-white background, you'll select everything that's white. Problem with that, if it's set to 100 and you've got, say, a white background, and that one, it'll start going in towards wherever the other white bits were inside the render, which is quite annoying. I usually try and do it on a tolerance. If it's just basic white, just put it on 1. Usually get it every time. Yeah. This slice tool is for web design. You slice it, put new HTML pages, stuff like that. More of an advanced technique, really, if you know how to use web pages. Cropping is obviously you crop the section that you want. Go straight for there. Press enter. There's your cropping. And let's see, we got spot healing brush. I don't really use it very often. It does have its advantages sometimes. If you go around a spot that's blemished, so it's not really going to work on this. It's more for fixing blemishes on the face and stuff. It usually just blends with it whatever you put the healing for. But of course, it doesn't always work either. It's not very good. And the healing brush tool is the same thing. But you can go minimize a bit, grab from this section, you want to put it over here. And it will try and, it's basically like another clone but makes it screen and look better. Now, patch tool, sort of the same thing, really. Use pattern if you wanted a pattern on there. I'm not a big fan, just saying. Move it around. Red eye tool, obviously to get rid of red eyes. And this one he actually has red eyes, so it makes it green, I suppose. Paintbrush, blah blah. Paintbrush, you can get new brushes and sort, DeviantArt's a great location for them. I don't really have that many on here. I used to have a lot more. So you can have, weird looking things, and lightning bolts, and plants. It's quite interesting. Bullet holes, if you're really into that sort of thing. You can do new brush presets, load brushes, replace brushes, all that sort of stuff. If you go into a brush, that one. Go down to the right here, it's got tool presets, and then straight underneath it you have brushes. Then you can change the brush type, shape dynamic, scattering, texture, dual brush, all that sort of thing, to make it look different when you spray it. And you got pencil tool, which obviously it's like a pencil. Can't really see it very well. It's more of a if you have a tablet sort of thing. I mean, you can make it larger, but it's just another direction, really. Color replacement. Just if you go over it, it'll make that brownish pistol thing look more silver and probably look actually like a pistol. But yeah. And you got the clone tool. If you press and hold Alt, it selects an option of where you want it to be cloned from. Say I want it cloned from here and chuck it over here. Wherever I go, it's going to be like that. I'm not actually sure what that does because I don't use it. I think it's just for putting patterns in one place to make sure they all stay the same. But it's really, I don't use it for any of my work. But at the top you can change it to whatever you have. I got white stuff, and you got the history brush tool, which I still have no idea what the hell that does either. Surprisingly, there are a few things on here I don't use. I don't know. This is just plain weird. It's kind of hilarious, to be honest. More like paint dobs if you're learning how to draw from blobs, I suppose. You do that. And then do your work on top of it. It's actually quite handy if you're doing actual artwork from hand. You use them to like sort of smooth out the section that you're working on, like on rocks and that sort of thing. It's good for pencil marks and making it look a lot more defined, and then go over it again. Of course, you got the eraser. Pretty simple. Background eraser. Magic eraser. If you select sections, it will get rid of it. Paint bucket, obviously for background and that sort of thing. Change it. Alright. And then you got gradient, so say we'll go on red and yellow, probably one of the most worst options ever. See, it changes from this one, it changes at the top, which is just weird. So if you go into here, you got preset options, what your background option is. If you go that one across, that makes it over the whole layer. Let's make a new layer and then do it. Drag it underneath, then you got that. Just an FYI for everybody watching, I'm just making this shit up as I go along. But it's pretty much the stuff that I use. Blur tool, obviously, it blurs it. The sharpen tool sharpens, obviously, good for more defining features on when you're drawing stuff. You know, sharper eyes, sharper hair, all that sort of stuff. The smudge, I've got my own personal settings for my smudge, but you can smudge things and all sorts of stuff for that. Make them blend into backgrounds. The dodge tools for, wow, that's big, for making it lighter. I have my own ways of doing it, but this is one way of doing it, and every time you go over it, it gets stronger. So So for example, if you're doing lining, let's fix that. If you don't know what lining is, it's sort of adding light to a section. So you'd zoom in, say I'd want a bright light there. You can use white if you're after a white light source, or you can use just a paintbrush and red. For now, I'll just use the dodge tool. Let's go into here, dodge tool, and you can make it more defined in sections that you want it to. This is called lining. Makes obviously just doing lines on the object. So it makes it more defined. It's better for the dodge tool. I reckon it would be better for doing soft surfaces rather than hard. If you want to do hard surfaces, you just use the brush tool and use a hard brush and do it yourself. That's my opinion, not everyone else's. Let's try and get back to where we were. Well, I screwed it. That's as far as back as it will go, but really, who cares? I can always just open it again anyway, I suppose. So anyway, that's another thing too. If you go too far doing something, you can only step back probably about 10 or 15 times. If you go anywhere past that, it's like the point of no return. It's kind of a pain in the ass when you're trying to work on it and then you forget about it. So, and then we got the burn tool, which is obviously the opposite of this one. So you can burn it back in. Burn tool's good for making it still more defined, like I said before, but for dark corners and all that sort of thing. So if I did it, it's very simple too. So if I did that, it will sort of make it seem that the light is coming from this direction, and that he's hiding under a rock or some shit. So you got that. Sponge tool. Like I said, I have no idea what this shit does. I think this is just for color. It's changing it to a bit grey, and it's just for watercolors and that sort of thing. Pen tool, I'm not going to get into that. It's just too much of a pain in the ass for me. It's basically, you can make shapes, and it's good for rendering images out. And I really can't bother to explain it. But if you want to look that up, I suggest looking at a pen tool tutorial, because that does take a while. You got your text, you can spread it where you want it. So then that's the text box, or you can just press text and it will make it, and then you can go I am awesome, and then change the color to black, chuck it up on a 72. See, now move it, there you go, I am awesome. You got the vertical type tool, horizontal type, so basically that will go left, up and down, I think. And the mask tool is sort of the same thing. So if I go like this, what should I say? I never remember how to spell that, but you get the point. This stuff is for pen tool as well. A line tool, obviously, it's a line. What else do you want from that? The other one's just square boxes, and you can do custom shapes, like arrows. Choosing your custom shape in here, TM, dog paw, polygon, rectangle. Make notes and audio annotations if you really want to. I don't need to half the time. Oh god, it's stuck. It's like post-it notes that don't want to go away. Anywho. Okay. Eyedropper. It's for, say, you wanted to color in the background in something that is from here. So let's go for the brown. Just click on the brown. It automatically puts it into your background palette. If you wanted to do a gradient, press that, and then if you press the hotkey X, which switches them, you can click on another one and then do the gradient. You know, and then paint bucket. Yeah, you get the point. It's easier to make a new layer because if you do it on the same render, it usually screws it up. So, that's what I'm saying. So that actually looks good. The color sampler. Yeah, you can choose exactly where you want your color to be. All that sort of thing. Tells you where it is at the top here. A ruler. Yeah, it's a ruler. What else do you want? It's good for symmetrical stuff and all that jazz. Points where you want them. This is for when you're close up. Say really in this thing, you make do this. Now the way of doing that is when you're on another tool, the hotkey is spacebar, so you can just move it, and it makes it a lot easier. And then you've obviously got the magnifying tool, which I'm using right now. And right click to go fit on screen, actual pixels, print size, zoom in, zoom out. Hold and click, left click and drag to zoom in. You can also right and then hold Alt and do the same. You just click, you can disappear into the nightness. Alright, let's try some other things, shall we? Okay. So now we got this image, let's cut them out. Press Ctrl A and then Ctrl X, which means cut. File, new, let's make a signature. So I do 500 by 150 for DTK forms, the max is 700 by 150, if I remember. You paste them in there, Ctrl V, put them where you want. There's about right. So then you got them in there. Now, there's millions of ways to do the background. You could do, say, open, I'll go to DTK. Let's grab one of my stocks. And grab a stock, put that in the background. Make a new layer. Say I could do that, that's one way of doing it. And you know, you could have it starting off like that, or you could do a blur on it. Yeah, that's another way, and then the way I do mine is I do smudge techniques. But the way I do it is I usually put the image in again, this main render image. I put it all over the place. I merge them all together, and I just smudge randomly everywhere, basically. I usually work on actual pixels just so I know it doesn't look kind of strange. So when you start, it's going to look a little weird. And then you put them back on top. There he is. Put them wherever you want. You can put them off to the side. I prefer mine in the middle. Now my dog's barking like a motherfucker and I have to yell at him. Hang on a second. Oh, God damn it. Charlie, shut up! Okay, make sure it's still recording. I think it is. Screw it. So then you have that. I can Control J it, Control U, which goes into the hue saturation levels. I chuck mine all up, which makes it completely and utterly white. And then you have the filters. There is hundreds of filters in here that you could use from anything. I got to pixelate and fragment. And then I push it over to the side, Control J, it makes sure the new duplicates the same layer. Put it over to the left, Control E merges both the top layer and the bottom layer that you're working on. Set to overlay. See, that's too bright for me, so I'll set that opacity down to 50%. Though this probably doesn't seem like it does much in the end, I still prefer doing it this way. A new layer, I go to the top here and go image, and then go to apply image. I grab my smudge settings that I was using before, and I just smudge, and then I press Ctrl T, transform for the layer. I move it out by quite a bit. And then put that underneath the render layer so you can still see. So then you have that, so it sort of is coming in and out at the same time. It sort of pushes into there a little bit more, which is what I'm after. Now, there's things called layer adjustments, I think. Yeah, adjustment layers, right? Other way around, whatever. And you can do, posterize, threshold, invert, all this sort of stuff. I always go gradient map, start off with a black and white. If yours is a different color, you can click on it and choose black and white, or any of your presets. I don't have many. And then you don't have to do dither, it really doesn't make a difference to me. And then put that on luminosity. The difference is it goes from a sort of just a plane and just sharpens up that, makes the shadows a lot darker and just makes it brighter. It's a lot nicer to look at. And then I start making photo filters. So for example, if someone says on the forums that they wanted this to be in, purple and black or green and red or something, you can choose them from the warming filters and all that sort of thing. Let's say that dragon I did for who was it? Let me check. It's around here somewhere. That dragon I did for Litchi Sean, this one. That one there. That dragon was initially purple. I don't know where I put the render. I think it's in more renders. Yeah, this one here. See, that was originally purple and I made it blue. Sort of. So the way you're doing that is you use filters. So this is a red. Let's make it, the cooling filters are extremely strong in this. So if I put it on a cooling filter, you can see that it changes it dramatically. I think I'm going to go for I don't know, green. I think green would be good. So a deep emerald. What you want to do is you don't want to do that, because though that is green, it takes all the color out of the render. So I need to just crank it a little bit, 30%. But I make a few adjustment layers, from adding warming filters to cooling filters to yellow, just things that would mix with the actual green to make it look a lot, nicer. So I'm just going to do this. I've never been a fan working with green, just so you know. Okay. That looks close enough for now, what I want. So now I'm going to do another gradient map. These things are, you can do lots of different stuff. So if you do that, it looks friggin' terrible. You can always reverse it and make it look better, but it never really does because it's a reflected linear. This one never works. That one definitely never works. The ones I use is this one, that one, which in reverse, that one, and that one. Because I'm going for green, I'm probably going to use this one. See, it's in reverse. Actually, go that one. I'm going for green, but when I work on things, I decide to change probably midway. I do that a lot. So I'm going to use this one, which is a purple-orange. set that to color. So if you go through normal, you can go down all the filters, see what they look like. Some look awesome, some look absolutely terrible. You have to just go through and choose what you want to use. So even for green, that saturation looks pretty damn cool. But I might just lower it because it's a bit too strong. So I'm going to put it on saturation, drop it down 25 to 50%. That's not working for me. So I'm going to crank that up to, yeah, definitely put that on 50%. So now it's gone from this sort of light blue-green to a strong hard green, which is nice. Which, by the way, the one thing I do is when I do this, I make a new layer underneath the render layer. I grab my brush tool, I grab a big soft brush, 200, 300, crank it a little bit, just to cover the back of the image in white. I just press it twice, using my smudge settings, just smudge it around. I set that to overlay. Sometimes you need to duplicate the layer twice, but if I do that it's way too strong. And sometimes I even have to lower it. So I'm going to put this down to 80%. Just so it sort of brings it out more, saying, you know, this is the image I want you to look at. That's what it's doing. Okay. Now if Steam buggers off, I can finish. Come on. There we go. Oh, you son of a bitch. Alright. This is a problem I have when I'm working with Photoshop. Steam pops up and tells me people are doing shit, and I don't really care. Anyway, back to what I was doing. At the top layer, go new layer. Make image. Apply image. Go filter. Artistic. You can, you know, go through what you think would look cool as a background. I'm gonna do, might go for a bit of dry brush, don't know. I'm gonna go cut out. And that's right. See that there? And then you grab your eraser tool. Erase the image out. Try not to get the background too much. Doesn't have to be perfect either. And then set that layer to either soft light or light, and it depends on how strong you want it. And I'll put it on soft light. So it's already making the background crisper. So you could do it again if you want to. And do, which one was it? Yeah, dry brush. And then set that to light and go through if you want more. So I'm just going to leave it, I think. Okay. And then I make another layer, apply that image. I've started using a new technique using liquify. That I just came up with it, and you just hold, and it just makes little twists everywhere. Sometimes it makes it look really cool. Sometimes you can't even see it. I still do it anyway, just in case it does look pretty good. And just do them random ones everywhere. And don't worry about this shredding here; it'll fix itself. Let's go. Okay. Grab an eraser, erase, try not to get the inside of the things too much. Too many does not look cool. So then you just go through the layer settings. See, it can do that, that's the problem. So you gotta find a layer where it doesn't do that. So I think I'm going to go with lighten. You can barely see it, but that's what I'm after. Now I go new layer with a big soft brush on black, and just brush around. So that, and then choose something that would blend in. So I don't want it too dark, I don't want it too light either, but we can also fix it up. So for now, let's put it on, I think soft light will do. Get an eraser, erase where you want the light to come from. Because this place is darker here, I think I'm going to go from the left. Just dip it in. Then in a new layer, do the soft brush but in white. Brush just like a quarter of the circle so you can see it just across. Press Ctrl U, which is the hue and saturation, switch it to colorize, turn it down a bit, turn saturation up. I'm going for green, so just turn saturation up a little bit. So there. I make a new layer, I do 1 on top. I do the colorize again. Try and hit that same green I was after, which is about there. But you set this one to overlay. Makes it stronger in the image. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't as well, which is not always good. You can always move, if you get this, you can always move it up, down, left, right, whatever. So I'm going to move this up a little bit. And that one up. So now I've got that. So usually this, you can do another color overlay, another gradient map. Say I want to do it in this color, one I used before. See, that color is actually really nice, but I'm still going for the green, so it's about 25%, so it still sticks it in there a little bit. You can put it on 50 if you're after a more yellow, and then you can max it if you really want it. So that green's too strong for me, so I'm going to put this on 25. So there you go, you got that so far. Now, there's other things that you can use on here. It's you got curves is one. So you crank this one about here, it'll make it a lot lighter. And if you put this one down, it'll make it darker. So you can do lots of interesting things with that. But if you do it, sometimes it makes it look bad too. So you need to just play with it. I'm going to see if I can get something nice out of this. So you can add new ones too. So it's not really working for me. Sometimes it works and sometimes it can look pretty terrible. So just do whatever you like, play with it. I think I might put it about there. So if you take it off, it's just making it a little bit brighter, which is what I'm after. You can do the same thing with levels. Levels is a little bit different. If you move that up, it brightens it. If you move that down, it will make it more contrast. So then I could realistically do that. So I'm going to cancel because I don't want it. Another technique I do sometimes, if I do just a basic black and white gradient map, I set it to darken, and if you grab a, see, because I've already made it green, you probably won't really notice. And if you get anything in these layers, the one that has a little white, if you go into the layer and use a black brush, wherever you brush is going to change it and put a big black thing in there. So if I got that original gradient map that did that, and then put that on, the top half is green, but the bottom half stays the way what it was. Tongue twister. So in a few steps, you basically have something you're after. Now you can do, if you wanted like a fog sort of thing going on, you grab your marquee tool, I'm going to put it about there. Put it in white, then you go up to filter, and then you go to render different clouds. Do it a couple times till you get, a lot. Now, there's a few ways of doing this, and sometimes it can look pretty bad. See, I did it the other day for someone, and it looked pretty awesome, but it's not probably going to work in this. If you set it to normal, and drop the opacity down about 50% so you can still see it. I smudge mine. It's not really working because of the color, so I mean you can try and change it. So if you wanted to do that, you could, erase the middle bit, still put it back up. You can have something like that, but I'm not liking it. The other way of doing it too is you open a C4D or, Maya render, anything that's a bit crazy and you wouldn't really see. I got a couple in here somewhere. Yes, I have a lot of stuff in this folder. This is my DTK folder, it's about 4 gigs big. And it's just got heaps of stuff in it. That's just crap. It'd probably help if I actually organize this, but it's not going to happen. Just saying. Fine, I'll just use the one that's in here. This wacky looking thing. Cut it out, chuck it in. You put it anywhere you want it to put. Let's say put this. Where am I going with this? Yeah. Let's put it there. Drag it all the way down. Underneath the render as well if you want. Even overlay it, Control Shift U changes it to just black and white, just so you know. Sometimes this can work and sometimes it won't work, no matter how hard you try. So I'm probably just gonna leave it out, like I always do. It can work in some, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm just trying to go through and show you guys, what you can possibly do with anything of these filters. It's just amazing. You can do lots of stuff. I didn't set this up properly, so it does look pretty bad. You can overlay that. Soft light. Has all the, things you want. You can do, there's amazing things you can do with this. If you wanted to change colors, you just have to go through the gradient maps and the photo filters and change them to cooling or, whichever you're after. The other way of doing it, which is basically just doing a photo filter, is you make a new layer and just choose any color, red, put it over the top, and then you can change that to color, instant red, and then 50%. Drop it to 26%, and you got a more warmer effect. You can do it in light blue, go for a more cold effect, darker, more green, because I've already got more green in it. It's the same as just doing a photo filter, but it's just linked and you can go through it and all that sort of thing. Black, just make it more definitioned. So you've got that. For if you do a new layer, image, apply image, and you go to, you've got a heap of filters in here you can play with. Blurs and colored pencils, sponge, brush strokes. It can work sometimes, but like I said, sometimes it just does not work. The other thing too is pixelate, mosaic. If you're after like a sort of tech background thing, you can erase the parts you don't want. I'm just looking for, you know, say that, for example. Shit like that. Put it on 50% of your erasing tool, you can go over it. They're the options that you have. I mean, you could apply the image again and put a Gaussian blur of about, my mouse is really fast, 7, and chuck that shit to screen. Instantly terrible. But like I said, you can do anything. Keeping that blur, also make it, you know, more defined, or, you know, anything. If you guys have any other questions, just leave it on the forum. I'll have a look at it. Anything you guys want to know, I'll try and help you out. I usually just mess around with it until I find something I want. So now we can just add text and a border. My borders are extremely simple. I kind of stole it off Stormy. Thank for that, by the way. Control A selects the entire canvas. Edit, stroke. I'm going to choose eyedropper. I don't know, that seems right. I'll put off 5 pixels. I'm probably doing this the long way, but I don't really care. Select that, delete. Okay, so now we got that. You can do overlay properties, you know, normal, chuck it on 50%. And then you chuck in your text. So back when Robbie didn't get banned, I had a heap of his text from some pack. I don't know if it's still in the forums. If it is, I'll try and find a link for it. But I stole most of those off him too, because he had cool text and I wanted it. So just find something you want as text. Let's have a look. There's bloody hundreds in here. Yeah, that's clearly what I'm going to use. 36. You can do your blending options, stroking. Stroke sometimes works, and you know, sometimes it can look pretty bad too. It's mostly just playing with your settings and seeing what you can come up with. And then usually have a good outcome. Let's see if I can stroke down. Okay, so you get that. If you want it, you can drag it underneath your gradient layers to color it in more. And probably just leave it there. So there you have it. This is just a very basic tutorial to make my signatures. They're incredibly easy to make. If you just make it up as you go along, you can make something pretty awesome. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you want more, let me know. I'll try and make a tutorial on whatever you guys. Just send me a request or whatever, and I'll pop one up on the forums as soon as I can. Thanks for watching.